From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, Brill portal bound. No spin, no sugarcoat. You just lost the top 10 player off your roster. Will they, should they go with the flow and be renegade spenders? Oh, and yeah, Randy Pittman entered the transfer portal after we recorded. But does it matter? Does anything really matter? It's going to be okay. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code warchantbogo allows you to buy one and get one free. That's right. Buy one. Get one free. Vitamins, nutrients, energy, all in one little bottle. You can take it anywhere and pretty much everywhere you got to go, boys and girls. Drop it in a stocking, put it in the break room, put it in the top shelf of your desk, put it in the gym bag, center console of the car. You get the idea. Take it wherever you got to go. Get your energy right. Get your mood right. VitaminEnergy.com. Synergistically formulated, clinically tested, clinically proven. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. $1 for a week, year subscription to The Athletic. There. You heard it all, everybody. Now we hear from the man, the myth, the legend, Corey Clark, senior writer for Warchant.com. What's next? Coming off the pen, coming off your fingertips to the keyboard, Corey, for Warchant.com subscribers. It's been an interesting sort of 36 hours or so since we last talked.
It has been. I haven't written it yet as we're recording this, but I'm sure I'll write on the Jabril Rawls news. There was a lot of portal action on Tuesday. He's the only one that you really feel, though, right? But it's a big one. So, yeah, kind of writing on that and, you know, what people might think or not think about how and why you lost them. So there's a lot to unpack there.
I don't know if I want to, I guess let's start maybe a little micro and then we can zoom out or whatever. But yeah, as Corey said, several folks hopped into the portal on Tuesday. I don't know what the total number we have now, but on Tuesday alone, Jabril Rawls, Cam Davis, Jaden Jones, Omar Graham Jr. Yeah. Cam Davis kind of lost in the shuffle of a crowded backfield. Jaden Jones, just, I don't know if, we heard such rave reviews about him. He had an impact play in the Alabama opener. And then that was pretty much it for Jaden Jones. Not sure if he got hurt again. And just, there clearly was opportunity there for somebody to take the reins at defensive end. And for whatever reason, Jaden Jones did not. He's in the portal. And then Omar Graham Jr., who's had a uneven career at Florida State. A lot of starts, some flash, some not as nice. So those four guys, they got to be close to, I think, pushing. They're over a dozen now, guys have entered the portal. But I guess, and Kai Bates, too, that was Monday, though. But that was since we talked. Yeah, man, Jabril Rawls hurts because, I don't know, Corey, should it hurt more? And he's a player and that's really all there is to it. But he's a guy that was really undervalued, under-recruited. You went and grabbed him. He stayed in your program for several years. This is what, year 4, year 3, redshirt sophomore year, I think, for him. Yeah. So year 3 develops into a player that, listen, there was a bit of a drop-off when he wasn't out there in some of those games. So to lose a guy that you've invested in and the whole thing with you is that you can't recruit well, you don't know how to evaluate. Well, you go get this guy that nobody else was really on. He develops into a likely NFL draft pick here. And then he's signs with an agency and then immediately thereafter enters announces his intentions to enter the portal. Does all that stuff factor into when you lose a guy, or do you simply have to look at it as he's a football player, he does X amount of stuff for you on the field, and he is going to want X amount of dollars, and we can only give him Y amount of dollars?
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to even speculate what a number for an all-conference type cornerback, which I think Rawls is. He wasn't all-conference this year, but he was good. He's all-conference caliber, in my opinion, anyway, and would have been kind of one of the bell cows of the defense coming back next year. I think he's an NFL talent. I think he's an NFL player. So to lose him, I don't know. It probably doesn't help matters that he lost his position coach, the guy that I assume Surtain recruited him. He definitely coached in the last few years.
Yep.
And then he gets fired kind of unceremoniously, and you still haven't even replaced that position. So I don't think that helped. And I think that could frustrate Florida State fans to be like, okay, one of the best players on the team literally, I'd say one of the 10 best players on the football team,
Yes.
enters the portal. And, again, the portal's only going one way right now. It's only flowing one way, and it's out. There will be people coming to replace the crew that you've lost. But I would say the two best players that I know, the two best players you've lost in the portal so far are Edwin Joseph and Jabril Rawls, two DBs who just lost their coach. So not great. But we'll see how it all ends up. And just because you go in the portal doesn't mean you don't come right back out of it. The guy you just mentioned, Omar Graham, did that last year. Patrick Payton did it after the 23 season. There have been guys that have entered the portal and come right back. So I guess that's still a possibility. But again, yeah, it's just like that's the one. None of these other ones, Jalen Lucas, go on and on. None of the other ones that have happened. Edwin Joseph was a starter, solid player. But you can go, in my opinion, you can go find another Edwin Joseph. I don't know that you can go find another Jabril Rawls, an NFL type. I don't think Edwin Joseph is an NFL player. I could be wrong, but Jabril Rawls is. And now he's in the portal, and Florida State hasn't really lost many of these guys. Even through the last downtime. Like, I don't know if I can remember, since Corey Durden, I don't know who's the next best player that they lost in the portal that you knew hurt at the time. Like Malik Benson, yeah, he's turned into a good player. He's actually got somebody that can throw him the ball. But Patrick Payton, you didn't feel like that was a big loss because of I thought that was addition by subtraction for a number of reasons. Marvin Jones wasn't a big loss. This is a big loss. There's no way to sugarcoat it. This was one of the best players on your team. They haven't really had that happen much in the last 6 years, so we'll see what they do to go about replacing him. I don't know why he would go in the portal. You always assume it's money, more money. I don't know what the going rate is for a cornerback of his stature and resume. I can't imagine it's not a ton of money relatively, but it's, I guess he might have wanted more than Florida State was asking, or he might have gone into the portal after he hired that agency just to test the waters and to see what else is out there, and maybe Florida State gets a chance to match it. We'll all see. But again, not a lot of positivity coming from the program here in the last, month, 6 weeks.
The rumor out there, I think, is he's looking for a 7-figure deal. So $1 million. Is there a chance?
Have a good day, man. Have a good day. Good luck. Good luck to you.
Okay.
What are you going to blame Florida State for not paying a corner 7 figures? And I know that's a rumor. We don't know how much that's based in fact and what he's looking for. But who? It's not like this is Travis Hunter. It's not like this is Azareye'h Thomas. Jabril Rawls had a nice season. He's played like 8 games in his life where he was a good player, and he is a good player. Maybe there's other coaches out there that think he's a potential first-round pick. I know this coaching staff here, the current one, identified him real quick as being a really good player, then fired his position coach. But you've got, it's not an infinite amount of money. And let's say they're working with a salary cap of around $25 million. Let's just throw that number out there. I don't know that you're going to spend when you get into the 7 figures, man. It's got to be in a more important position than cornerback, in my opinion. If that's what he's really asking for, like, good luck, man. Like, you can't pay all of them $1 million. What's Deuce want? Deuce is more important than Jabril Rawls. The quarterback is twice as important, 5 times as important as Jabril Rawls, whoever the quarterback's going to be. Defensive ends, I think, are more important. You know what I mean? Like, so you've got to part of being a GM and part of running a program is figuring out how you're going to spend your money. The problem right now is we don't know who is the GM, when that GM will be, but would get here. But yeah, you've got to be, you not cautious with your money, but you've got to be discerning. You can't just say, "Oh, Jabril, you want $1 million? Okay, well that might cost us the quarterback we want 2 weeks from now, but okay, we'll keep you in the fold for $1 million." And then what does Arnaud want? What do the Desirs want? I don't know. Let me put it this way: I think that keeping the Desirs is more important than keeping Rawls. And you want to keep them all. And you shouldn't have to pick. But here we are in 2025. And sometimes it feels like you have to pick how you're going to spend your money. It doesn't seem that way. You do. That's a lot of money for a cornerback. Not a quarterback, a cornerback.
Something that Ira and I discussed last week, Corey, when we did a video after the news about Derek Ray getting the job at UCLA, personnel general manager or GM of personnel, was the way this rev share works out, Corey. There, it's like a year to year thing. So you have a certain amount of money and you can use it, obviously, within like this academic year, I should say, not calendar year, academic year. So while you can't necessarily tank, like you can't just spend $1 million this year and then roll over the $19 million surplus into next year's $25 million, the number that you used earlier, right? So you can't tank in that regards. But right. there is some massaging and timing to where you can maybe go a little bit lower for a particular fall football class, if you will, and then sync it up to where you would have more money that second time around. So if we're using the $25 million number, you might be able to go a little bit under that. And then if you time everything up right and you get guys signed to contracts, you can spend a little bit more money. So I don't know if this was discussed, this is like a strategy, because we still don't know who the GM is, but what do you think about the idea of maybe taking some lumps in 2026? Sticking with maybe this freshman quarterback that you got from the state of Texas and, letting some guys walk that want big contracts and, whatever, go 4-8, go 5-7 again. But then you get those guys their lumps. They got their stripes. They're ready to go in 27 and you got more money in your coffer. And then you have a better idea of what you need to get. And then you go for it all in 2027.
No, because I think you're working under the premise that there is rev share and that's the only way you can pay these kids right now. And I'm under the impression that's not the case. Like, it's not just from this one pot that you can pay. Nothing is in place guideline-wise, rules-wise, that tells you that Florida State can't beat Texas Tech this year. Like, I don't think there's any rules in place that say you can't do that. So if there aren't, then no, you don't need to be saving money. Norvell's not – this whole program isn't in a position to take lumps anymore. You've taken plenty. It's 4 of the last 6 years you've taken plenty of lumps. It's time to start delivering lumps. Is that a saying?
I don't know. Let's do it. Put on a shirt.
You leave a lump on somebody's forehead. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start delivering it. Not quit taking the lumps. Deliver some lumps. I don't think after 7-17, you have any. You can't just say trust this, trust the process. You can't Philadelphia 76ers it and be like, trust the process. We'll figure it out in 2027 because I don't think you're – I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive. I don't think your head coach would be here. He bet – God willing, he's going into this season thinking he has to win. Not that it would be okay if he loses or it's cool if he loses a few – like he needs to go into this as like his career is on the line. I would like them all in that office to go into this season as if their career is on the line. And spend accordingly. You can't – I mean, I guess you could, and I can't say that you can't. Like, the world will keep spinning. The sun will come up. But it's really hard to keep – it's really hard on this fan base and the people that pay everybody's salary and pay for this roster if you keep throwing out, to not be eloquent, a bunch of crap out there. They're going to get tired of seeing it and tired of paying for it. And so I don't think that's the plan. I certainly don't think, we talked about that on headlines, as good as Sperry might be, man, they did themselves a disservice in hindsight. He didn't get to play at all in 25, really. He played through like 5 meaningful passes, had 12 meaningful snaps. You can't go into this season coming up with an unknown at quarterback. In my opinion. Now, I say that they might have fallen in love with the kid and think he's awesome like Jimbo did with Jameis and know they got something great and are going to ride with him. But I did not get that impression from when we talked to Norvell at the end of the season. I think they're definitely going to be making a run at the quarterback position with someone. I just don't – you can't be like, trust this, let us wear it this year again. But Kevin Sperry might end up being something. It's like, man, Norvell doesn't have – I don't think – he has that kind of time or runway to be like, Kirby can do that. I hope Norvell doesn't think like that.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website, the place to be, everybody, every day of the week, but especially on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hope you had fun at trivia night, everybody, yesterday, competing, trying to win house cash and bragging rights. Thursday night, bingo night, 4 rounds, $250 cash money up for grabs in each single round. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., only $8.99, entree and side dish of your choosing. And then everything else on that menu, even after 3 p.m., it is reasonably priced and it is unreasonably awesome tasting, including the Corey wrap, everybody. Everybody keeps telling their friends about it. Why don't you have it and tell your friend about it? Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. All right, then, Corey, so maybe somebody was yelling at their console of their car when they heard the last segment. But so if we're operating under the fact like there are no real rules that are not preventing you from being a Texas Tech, then like why aren't you being a Texas Tech then? Like why not tell Jabril Rawls, sure, we'll sign to $1 million? Because again, like NIL is still a thing, right? But it's got to go through the clearinghouse. But listen, I mean, I feel like, money is going in bags and bags are being dropped off places too. That's not being reported as NIL. So you have to have that appetite to go back into those waters, which I think, if you're coaching at this level, if you're administrating at this level, you kind of realize. So like, why not then? Like, why let Rawls leave if you're not going to operate under the assumption that rev share is all we've got?
Well, I mean, I think the easy answer is you're not Texas Tech. In terms of money, you're Texas Tech. You beat Texas Tech out, blow them out of the water in everything that's mattered in the sport for the last 50 years. History, tradition, wins, championships, all that, obviously. But they have more money than you. They have people, they have benefactors that I guess are oil dudes, oil tycoons. Good for them. So you can't maybe compete with that money. They have more money. I mean, they paid a softball player like $1.3 million just because they wanted their team to be good at softball. Good for them and great for her, but they got money. They got more money than you. So in the and also, like, you can understand, we definitely had this conversation to get on headlines as this turns into another headlines wrap. But
not too much. I got to listen to it on the drive to Tallahassee later today.
But talking about why? Because I asked Jeff, I was like, if you were $100 millionaire, if you were one of these dudes that just had more money than you knew what to do with, and you had given $1.5 million to the program last year because you're a huge fan, and they didn't, and they had this season, would you just not give money again? Would you say no until you get rid of him? I'm not giving you money because he's blowing my money, he's burning my money, and I don't want to spend it with someone that doesn't know what they're doing? Because I think that's an interesting question. I don't think that makes you less of a fan or more of a fan either way. But I think there probably are some big money people that don't, at least a portion of them. Number one, it's ridiculous. Again, I'm going to just specify or clarify again. It's ridiculous that we're in this place at all, that it's up to you guys, fans, to make sure your team is good and well compensated and that your coach gets paid $11 million. It's all on the fans all the time. It's despicable, honestly. But here we are. So as a fan, would you be, like, I could ask you, if you were $100 millionaire, would you, because everybody's a millionaire these days. I got to specify, you got hundreds of millions in the bank.
Yeah.
Would you, if you gave 1.5, because you're a huge Florida State fan, huge, and you love to enjoy your falls. It makes you feel good when your team is good. You like to cheer for a good team. This is one of your hobbies in life. You want to enjoy it, so you're going to spend this kind of money to try to get your team over the hump and be good. They go 5-7. If they came back and asked you for more money, what would you say, Aslan?
Yeah, all right.
You would? Because Jeff wouldn't answer it, and that's fine. I think Jeff was under the impression, no, I'm not going to give money. Not under the impression. I feel like that was his vibe, and I get that side too. Because you do maybe feel like you're burning money, and maybe you want this school to realize they're not going to just keep coming and tapping you for more money until they make a change. Because you don't believe in the leadership and it feels like you're enabling him to stay here if you just keep the faucet on and nothing changes from the head coach. So it's a.
I'm saying if you got like $200 million of wealth,
yeah,
7% of that, which is probably what you would get in a very, a fairly aggressive investment, like on the stock market, like an ETF like QQQ that tracks, the S&P or whatever. That's almost $1.5 million right there. So it's like, all right, man, like,
well, 7% of 200 million is 14 million.
Well, 14 million then. So, I mean,
my quick math, because 7% of 100 million is 7 million. So what I did there is I just doubled it.
The commas tripped me up.
That got me to 14.
The lack of commas.
Yeah, people that have that kind of money, and Florida State has their share of those people too. Florida State is not dirt poor. They do have wealthy donors. People that probably can go rent yachts anytime they want. Take a 2-week. Maybe they have their own yachts, but maybe you don't go on that yacht trip in the spring, because you want to make sure they have a quarterback. Like, people spend money however they want to spend money for their enjoyment. And so either way, the point being, I think Florida State will have enough money to compete, certainly with anyone in the ACC. They just do. Like, I know Miami probably spends more than them, but it's by degrees, man. Florida State and Clemson, I think, are close. And Florida State spends more money on their roster and coaching staff than anybody else in the ACC but those two teams. We all agree on that. So, they will have money to make these roster decisions, but it's not infinite. And you can't just go pay. You can't have millionaires all over the defense. I mean, it's almost sick to talk like this anymore. It just makes me cringe a little bit. But you're going to have multiple millionaires on your football team probably next year, because you will have to overpay, again, because you're not good and you need to get good. And players have the leverage, their agents have the leverage, and they know that. They know you're a little desperate. Right now, Rawls, you're not desperate for a cornerback right now. Even a really good one like Jabril Rawls.
But I think what I think fans are feeling right now, Corey, is that you're going to overpay perhaps to get Colton Joseph from Old Dominion, or, Matt Lasser had some reporting that, the quarterback from Old Dominion has said that his representation has been in touch with Florida State. But to get a guy like that, you're going to probably have to overpay. So, like, you're okay with overpaying him.
Yeah.
But then the guys that you've recruited, day one guys that have been here through everything, like, you went and found them, like, you're not willing to pony up and keep them. It almost feels like you're being kind of a feeder program. I mean, if you want to be really dramatic about things, and then you turn around and you're like, well, we're not being cheap. We're going to go overpay for this player and that player and this player. Like, why wouldn't we at least overpay the guys that have been here and have done things on the field for this logo?
I think it's the position, man. Honestly, I think it's the position and the impact on a football game. Like, it's awesome. Jabril Rawls is good. I'll keep using it. I don't know what his war is over Arnaud. I don't. Is it 0.5 wins a win? I know that a really good quarterback this year, Florida State, would be getting ready to play in a bowl game. Maybe, probably not. Hear me out. Maybe getting ready to play this weekend if their quarterback was much, much better. So that, to me, again, that's what it comes back to, is you've got to spend on the positions when you don't have unlimited funds, and you've got money, again. But you're going to, like every school in the ACC, you're going to take some hits. You're not going to have superstars at every position. I get what you're saying. You'd like to keep Rawls, but at what price? Like, what's the and again, this might not have anything to do with money. He might want to go somewhere where he thinks he's going to win, or he might want to go somewhere where they didn't fire his position coach. Like, all that stuff might matter. I don't want to make it all about money with Jabril Rawls. I'm just saying what I personally would do if I knew I had a set budget of whatever, $25 million. I don't know that I would want to spend that much on one cornerback. That's not a, Travis Hunter All-American type cornerback. That's all I'm saying. But I could be wrong. It's a big loss, but you've got a lot of holes to fill, starting with the quarterback, and you only overpay. I don't know if it's possible to overpay for a quarterback if they're good. Like, did Miami overpay for Cam Ward or Carson Beck? Like, look where they went. Like, that's money well spent if they end up being good. So it would be an overpayment if, let's just use Colton Joseph for an example, the Old Dominion quarterback. If he comes here and it's another 7-win team and he's not all that good. Another 7-win team. Good. God willing, they can get to 7 wins in our lifetime again. If it's another 7-5 type season, then yeah, you probably overpaid. But what if he's really good, man? And then I don't know that it's possible to overpay at that position because he's going to make everybody better if he's good or whoever that quarterback is. It's all tough to talk about, though, because we don't know the negotiations. We don't know where he's going to end up. We don't know if this is a negotiating ploy, if he's going to go to Alabama, what he's really being offered, because it's all in the gray. Just this stupid sport is all in the gray. And hopefully it gets to be black and white soon. But right now we all deal in hypotheticals and speculation and no real numbers because everybody's so secretive and everybody operates in the margins and there are no real numbers like there are in all the other biggest sports in this country.
Is there a good synonym or something out there that you have that you can pull from your deep, vast knowledge, Corey, that is not quite as strong as hypocritical, but is, again, a synonym of it? Because I do find it interesting. Listen, there hasn't been really any good news for Florida State fans to hitch their wagon to. So the hits keep on coming, especially if you want to, listen, some of these players, listen, you can say Jalen Lucas is a big loss. I mean, you can say Kai Bates is a guy that was highly recruited. You got him day one and he never really developed. And now you're letting him walk. And then obviously Rawls, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of threads just about college football is dead. Who else is going to leave? People are just completely soured on everything. And it's well, man, I know it's different when somebody leaves Florida State to go somewhere else because of money. But, the reason why this guy is still here is because they absolutely pillaged the transfer portal and left no stone unturned. They went after anybody and everybody. They did not care, man. They went and got you. They were assassins. And then now everybody else has that same thirst to go and chase and get whoever they want. And you're kind of getting lapped. But now it's this is lame. I don't like this anymore. So I don't know how much of that is, are we not being consistent in our thoughts as fans sometimes thinking about the good and the bad of the portal because now the shoe's on the other foot. Basically, it's not as fun when the rabbit got the gun, Corey. So
yeah, I think what people, and even I am, yes, you can say that's hypocrisy or a little less degrees of hypocrisy, but I understand the sentiment because, when you think about Jared Verse or Braden Fisk, they leveled up. And that's different than, let's use Patrick Payton, for example. I don't know how much more money he got to go to LSU, but he didn't level up. He just went to another school that was willing to pay him a little more. What's really cool about this situation now, what's really cool about college football in 2025 are the stories of Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, a Trey Benson that's been left behind in Oregon that gets another chance somewhere else, Jarian Jones, whatever. All these, and I'm just using them as these, Mendoza, Diego Pavia. These guys that level up from smaller schools, use them as a stepping stone to get to a higher place, to a better conference, to a better program. Right now, when it comes to stuff like Jabril Rawls leaving Florida State, let's say he goes to Auburn. Well, that's not you're not using, that's not a stepping stone. Auburn isn't a better program than Florida State. You're just hopping from one stone to another for a little bit more money. And that I don't. It's like a free agent. It's the free agency every year in the NFL. It's just not how you can operate. You can't operate a sport like this. Eli Drinkowitz, the Missouri coach, talked about it on Tuesday about how the sport is sick right now. It's got a sickness. It was a good quote because what he did was he qualified it by saying you can all say that the coaching contract ranges are out of control too, which is yeah, man, Eli, we can, because you guys are jerks. You and your ilk have ruined this sport because all you want is more and more and more money. And so, yeah, Florida State has to pay a coach $55 million because he threatens to leave. Indiana had to pay Cignetti another $60 million because there was the threat of him going somewhere else. You got paid because there was the threat of you leaving. Dillingham might get a new contract because there's the threat of him leaving. You guys play these universities against each other all the time. Well, now that's what the players are doing. And it sucks. And it feels like it's permeated the whole sport. And it's not fun, man. It's not as fun as it used to be, but it is fun when you're winning. And it's just, they're better stories when they're guys from smaller schools, right? Than getting the guy from Old Dominion. nobody could fault a star quarterback from Old Dominion wanting to go play at like Florida or Florida State. Nobody. He's at Old Dominion, man. Their stadium seats 11,000. Yeah, are they the Monarchs?
They are.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Who knows that? Not many, because they're Old Dominion. But yeah, so he gets a chance to go show off his talent and skills at a big boy school, at a blue blood. That's cool, man. That's the portal in being used for good. Same with backups that realize, okay, I'm never going to play here, but I've got a chance to go play at maybe a lesser school and enjoy my college and get to show my wares at another school and actually get to play. That's all well and good too. It's the it's the Patrick Payton situations. Sorry, not Jabril Rawls. He might end up coming back, but like he didn't better his situation. They fired their coach. Like he went to LSU just to go to LSU. Maybe they offered him a little more money. Maybe Tony White didn't want him. I don't know. And he's probably not even a good example to use either. But these guys that he's a starter. You're a starter at Florida State and a well-compensated starter. And still it's not enough. And, if somebody's willing to pay him more, God bless him. But, I would say that if you were able to get, like Micah Pettis, that's a good example coming the other way, right? Like, he was a starter at Ole Miss. Good program.
Borderline playoff team last year.
Yeah, and a playoff team this year. Yep. And he came to Florida State. He would have started at Ole Miss, I think. And he was a good player here. So, yeah, that was me saying a lot of words, not really making a point. But it's just kind of the reality of the sport right now, which can be very, very frustrating, especially because, look, man, Mike Norvell has not done this a lot. He has not identified guys out of high school that end up being NFL-caliber players. He finally did with a cornerback. Now, maybe it was Surtain that did it, but maybe Norvell gets credit. Yeah, but Norvell gets credit. It was his program that identified this kid, and Tony White gets credit too. And then as soon as he becomes someone, okay, now I'm getting the portal. But then, Florida's quarterback just went in the portal. Arizona State's quarterback. Think about that kid. What Kenny Dillingham did for that quarterback at Arizona State. And he bounces and is in the portal. And they feel a lot worse about their situation right now, in my opinion, than even Florida State fans do, because I still think we're operating. I might be wrong and I might be naive. I think Florida State is still one of the destination-type programs where a guy like Levitt, maybe not with Malzahn here, but in another world, another universe, he would come to Florida. Florida State would be one of his schools he might be thinking about going to. I don't think it works the other way where if Florida State had a really good quarterback, a bad quarterback, he would leave to go to Arizona State. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, so Arizona State, their fans think about those fans, man. They get into the playoff, they have a really good year, and as soon as they do, they've had 3 starters enter the portal, including their quarterback, who's one of the best players in school history, probably one of the most impactful players in school history. And it's like, well, where do they think they are? What's their lot in life? What are they left to be excited about? But hey, at least Florida State could go get a new quarterback.
I think they
absolutely have to.
But it's it's recency bias or whatever. But it's also like Kenny went and found that kid who was like toiling away at East Lansing. Like he was at Michigan State, really didn't even do anything there.
Yeah.
And then Kenny looks at him on film.
He repays Dillingham in that university by leaving.
I mean, he got them to the playoff, and he got Kenny a big contract and stuff. So I mean, he did enough. He did his part or whatever. And everyone's listen. He clearly hasn't been signed to a multi-year contract because or maybe he is, and he's just gonna have to pay some of the money back to the school. In which case, it's fine. But I think if you're an Arizona State fan, you feel good about Kenny Dillingham because he made Jeff Sims a serviceable quarterback, which nobody else really had been able to do before that. And he did what he did to Sam Levitt. So you're like, we're in good hands with Kenny. I just don't know if you're a Florida State fan. You clearly don't think you're in good hands. Most people don't think you're in good hands if you're with Mike Norvell. And I don't know if that number is much bigger when you think about the offense and Gus.
No, I meant more like, yeah, you feel like Kenny Dillingham knows what he's doing and he's a good coach. He's proven that. But what's your end game? Like, what is Arizona State in the landscape of college football when their 2-year starting quarterback that won like 19 games in 2 years when he started leaves? He's still getting paid. Like, where's your program at? What you're just a lesser than? Like, that could be a struggle. That's hard when he's got eligibility left to just leave. Like Washington State with Cam Ward, but even that made sense because they weren't even in a conference. But
well,
yeah,
what if
that's
they don't
hard.
have the money? I mean, what if they don't have the money to keep
No,
that guy
and I don't
around?
look,
and
and I
Florida
wanted
doesn't have the money to keep guys around and go get guys.
And I wanted to say that, like, Kenny Dillingham's got a big old fat extension and raise, or will here soon, because of Sam Levitt. So if Sam Levitt has a chance to go make a lot of money, fine, go make it. That's why this sport is kind of broken, though, is because they're all year-to-year contracts. Everybody's a free agent, and there will be some point here soon, if it doesn't get dialed in real quick, there will be a $10 million a year quarterback, because this is a big boy billionaire business. And look around the rest of the football world, and the quarterbacks make all the money. And there will be a quarterback, maybe this year coming up. If Carson Beck's worth 4, what's so-and-so X worth? What's that USC kid getting? What's he getting when he's re-signed? There will be a $10 million a year quarterback until this thing gets properly. But it's untenable. It can't keep going. Like, the NFL just keeps making more and more and more money. I don't know if that's really the case with college football. I don't know. Like, the NFL, the salary cap keeps going up by $20 million a year, $15 million a year. They keep making more and more TV revenue. I don't know if that's really the case with college football.
The rev share is going to go up. I think they said it's going to be up to like $32 million, but that's like year 10. So
yeah, right.
And we're going to be going to year 2 in 26.
It feels like it's growing at a pace that can't be sustained, where a quarterback's going to be asking for that kind of money. So that's where we are. The good news is, again, Florida State is in the market for a quarterback, and I do think they're willing to pay. They've struck out. They've struck out 2 years in a row. Castellanos was better than DJ, but not by much, and they're both better than all of Norvell's recruits. But, it wasn't good. It's not good enough, and hopefully they can go get a quarterback that's good enough to win more than they lose around here. They're out there. Yeah. That's the thing, Aslan. There are good quarterbacks out there.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
Yep.
A lot of them.
Yep.
So go get one, please.
I mean, let's look at the guys that are in the playoff, right? Guy from Ferris State, a guy from Cal.
Yep.
I know Texas Tech's guy was homegrown. Miami's guy came from a good program. I don't know how hotly recruited Marcel Reed was at A&M. So yeah, I get it.
Oregon's quarterback's from UCLA, right?
Yeah. He was the cat's pajamas coming out of high school. So, but yeah, I mean, there's guys in there, man. It's which makes this all that much more frustrating. And correction before we go to break, 4% annually, roughly, the cap is supposed to go up. So it'll hit 30 million by decade's end, not in a decade, but by the end of the 2020s.
Or what? Like, you see the Ballmer thing, like with Kawhi Leonard, and I don't know what's ever going to become of that, but it looked like Kawhi Leonard was getting more money to do nothing. Like, and that's become like an NBA scandal. Yeah. And imagine like Arthur Blank, just like he's already paying. Well,
for the people, sorry, Corey, real quick, that are unaware, Kawhi Leonard left to go to the Los Angeles Clippers, and to keep him around, they gave him his max contract, but then they also paid him out of, I guess, one of Ballmer's private enterprises, like gave him money on the side there. So, yeah, which would be basically giving a kid a Corvette, or giving his mom or dad like $100,000 in a duffel bag. Yes. On top of their rev share.
So, but like it would be like Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank just can't go tell, I don't know, man, I don't know, Myles Garrett. Like, hey, we're going to sign you in free agent. I know you don't want to come to Atlanta. We're going to sign you for whatever, 5 years, 120. But I'm also going to give you $25 million on the side, too, every year. You got to come now, right?
Yeah.
The Browns can't match that. They don't even know that's happening. That would be illegal. Blank would be suspended. Blank would probably be the team would be stripped from him. There are no such rules in place in college football. There just aren't. It is still, again, I've used the expression way too much. It is the Wild West and is unregulated. They want to act like it's regulated, but there's been nobody that's been punished at all for illegal NIL dealings. And until there is, and the punishment has real teeth, there's no stopping this train.
Well, other than Florida State and Alex Atkins. But yeah, otherwise, no one's really.
Well, that was even that, right? That was a 3-game, he missed. But it's so funny to think about that now, how ridiculous that punishment was at all, considering where we are now. But either way, like there are no real. There's not been one school that's been hit with probation. Obviously, not even close to that. Bowl ban, postseason ban, all that stuff. We don't even know what the punishment's going to be, what teeth they're going to be. So until that happens, I can promise you, because I know college football history, They're all going to try to cheat to get the best players. It has been going on since Bear Bryant first put on what were those hats called?
Fedora.
No, but like
houndstooth.
Houndstooth. There you go. Yeah, before he even knew what a houndstooth hat was, college football teams have been cheating, and they're going to continue to cheat, even with these revenue sharing. If these the new deal, if there ever is a deal that's actually struck. So that's the problem right now with this sport is there's no regulation and there's no way to make it so if a kid signs a contract, he stays there. I like that Georgia's suing that kid that went to Missouri. Good. You sign a contract, you're an adult. Deal with the consequences if you break a contract. It's how life works. It's going to become more and more like a business, but it's business with it's still got the seedy underbelly.
Yeah.
In my opinion, of like the 80s, until there's real policing of it. So, but even still, all that being said, Florida State is still in the top 10% of this sport. Just look around the country, even though they haven't been good lately. South Carolina, I just always use the same ones. Rice, Texas.
I know, man, but South Carolina just signed their quarterback. They re-upped him. You haven't announced anything. I mean, I get it, man. Tradition, history, yes, but are you spending the amount of money that those schools are?
No, I don't know, but I'm still saying you're a have. You're not a have.
Yeah.
You're a have. That's what I meant to say. I don't mean to compare 2026 Florida State to 2026 South Carolina, but you are still a have in the football world, in the college football world. Florida State still rings out. It still matters. It still resonates. Maybe that gets lessened a little bit, but I feel like that goes for all these schools, man. If Indiana and Vanderbilt can compete for championships, then everything's being diluted a little bit.
Anything is possible,
right? Yeah. So, but Florida State is still a have. I truly believe that. I know Rawls might get y'all to feel a certain way about it. Let's see what this roster looks like. They're spending a lot of money on this football program simply in the coaching staff alone. They do care. You are one of the big boys. You are one of the blue bloods. This guy has not done great here, clearly. But you still have more advantages than 90 to 95% of the teams in the country. The problem is you are doing jack squat with those advantages right now. But they're there. You have a passionate fan base. You have great media coverage. You have a cool stadium. You have a lot of money and resources and a great state to recruit from. Those are all still big advantages that a place like Arizona State does not have. It would just be nice if you started using those advantages more than you have been, clearly.
Let's use the advantage of Corey's big brain again, everybody. Underdog Fantasy Sports. Make your picks. Win money, everybody. All right, we got some more playoff ones available. I gave it out the other day, my Bama Oklahoma pick. So I'm going to go to you, Corey. You're going to have to cover us on Miami and A&M. Carson Beck, 237.5 passing, 1.5 passing touchdowns, 29.5 passing attempts, 19.5 completions. Either of those?
Yeah, I would say the yards.
Okay. Oh, higher? 237.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Marcel Reed, quarterback for A&M, 222.5 passing yards, 31.5 rushing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns. How about this one, Corey? 262.5 passing yards and rushing yards combined. Higher, lower?
Lower.
Okay. There we go. And let's see. Malachi Toney. Everybody wishes they had Malachi Toney. 79.5 receiving yards, 27.5 yards longest reception.
Oh, higher on that second one.
All right, there you go. Those three, 5-1 payout. We're running low on our money, but we're gonna get a winner here sooner than later, everybody. Maybe fade us, as they say, and go against what we're saying.
Do the exact opposite.
But do this. Download the app today, Underdog Fantasy Sports. Use the promo code WARCHANT to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Underdog, make picks, win money. Bet responsibly. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Oh, you still got so much Christmas shopping to do, don't you? And you have no idea what to buy for people. It's fine. That's why you listen to this podcast, for Florida State information and gift ideas. May I recommend the Ridge Wallet, everybody? I'm getting married, as you all know, and I got groomsmen, and I'm like, what am I getting my groomsmen? And I've always said to myself, the three things you could always give to somebody and they would be appreciated: high-quality umbrella, high-quality flashlight, high-quality electric toothbrush. Who gets those and is like, I'm not going to use this, I don't need it? But they might be a little underwhelmed, like, oh, all right, cool. But they'll use it. The Ridge Wallet, though, they will use, and they're like, man, this is awesome. It looks great. It feels super cool. And it's also safe and secure. I can add an air tag to this thing, and it will track my wallet in case I lose it. It is compact. It is sleek. It comes with a lifetime warranty, 99-day risk-free trial, and free shipping. What are you waiting for? Head over to ridge.com, take advantage of their biggest sale of the year, and get up to 47% off. And when you're at checkout, try to use the promo code WAKEUP. You might be able to even save an additional 10%. Ridge.com. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. There was a thread over on the Tribal Council, Corey, just about following up. They had listened to the podcast. Shout out to them. Lou, I think Lou Classic 85 was his name. He disagrees with us and our assertion that Florida State should announce something when it comes to Gus Malzahn because, listen, he's under contract, and who else does this? Ira came to the rescue, running from the back, jumps into the ring, steel chair to the back of the guy, putting us in the chokehold. Thanks, Ira. Nuanced, take about, like, that is fair, but again, there's reports out there that you were, interviewing elsewhere. You yourself, we asked you kind of point blank, and you didn't say anything. And then there was, there's been some scuttlebutt on whether or not, Mike said what he said and what's been portrayed. So I want to go back. I just want to play this again. This was signing day press conference. So this was the Friday after signing day. This was December 5th, year of our Lord 2025, Corey.
Yep. Beyond Pat, have there been any other staff changes?
We're continuing to work through the process of our staff, of, kind of some of the organizational aspects of what we're doing. But, I have nothing to comment on that right now.
And just as a point of clarity with that, is the expectation for Tony and Gus to remain as the coordinators?
Yes, there's not been any change in regards to that. And like I said, we're just going to continue to push forward with all things, and really nothing to comment in regards to that.
If you're okay with that being the answer, okay, but you can't say that this is a clickbait show and that's a clickbait segment trying to fan the flames, because there's been some of those replies, Corey, and I take umbrage with that because what was that, man? And that's why, look, what do we know? And what do we know? Have we learned anything from that day, 12 days past it,
It wasn't a throaty defense, or it wasn't a declaration that, both my guys are coming back. And Tony White, and again, it also goes to Gus. When Gus was asked about it, I don't remember what his answer was, but something of the lines like, oh yeah, I'm just, I'm worried about Florida, because we got him before the Florida. So I think he was asked if he planned to come back, and he's like, I'm just worried about the next game right now. Well, by God, man, so the OC doesn't declare that he wants to come back. And also there's been rumors out there that he was going to be leaving. So then he gets asked about it and basically just says no comment. The head coach, in my opinion, because I've listened to Mike Norvell talk for 6 years, that to me sounds like a no comment. Like I'm not really answering that one way or the other, because it sounded a lot like Norvellese, like not really saying a ton there. That there is some, it didn't clarify anything. There was no clarity with your coordinator positions, especially the offensive coordinator, because Tony White when he was asked about it, said, well, do you know something I don't? Like, I'm planning to be here. Like, as far as I know, my son plays at McClay. My daughter plays soccer. I'm looking forward to go. I got dinner with my wife. Like, all systems go. Tony White, you got clarity. He was coming back, in my opinion. That's the impression he gave then. It was obvious to me that Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn did not want to give any impression that he was coming back. They were not declarative in what they were saying. So there was speculation. There was real questions on who would be running the offense, because they had a chance. Norvell especially the Friday after signing day, whatever that was, 2 weeks ago now, 12 days ago now, he could have said, yeah, Gus is my coordinator. We're full season, full. You can ask me that. I understand why you're asking me that. Yeah, as far for now, he is my coordinator. We are playing. Unless something crazy happens, I'm planning on Gus Malzahn to be the offensive coordinator here next year. That's not hard to say, and that would have given some clarity. The problem with the answers, and who cares really, right? He's either OC or he's not.
I mean, that's an important thing, though, about what.
No, but I'm saying
no.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter that he's the OC, whether he announces it or not. Like, who cares, right? Except, like, if Gus is just here in the spring, he's here in the spring. You're right. They didn't have to give us an announcement. They didn't have to tell the fan base. But by God, what is the fan base supposed to think? It looks like neither one of them wanted Gus to come back. Gus didn't want to come back, and Norvell didn't necessarily want him back. But he's coming back. Why? That's kind of my issue with it. Is like, what messaging are you giving to your fan base that you do believe in what you're doing, you do believe in these two coordinators and this coaching staff, when you hem and haw so much about a simple question? Just for clarity, is the expectation that Malzahn and Tony White are both going to be here next year? Yeah, well, like we said, as I've said, also we're progressing. Like, just say yes. Yeah. I expect them both to come back because I believe in what we're doing. That might make everyone roll their eyes. They might get all angry that you didn't make the changes they wanted to make, but at least there's some. That's a declarative statement. And it's concrete and not easily misrepresented or misunderstood. But it was just a limp endorsement. Why are you something so important? Why are you giving a limp endorsement? And I meant limp like a limp handshake, everyone. Just let's get clear here. Get your minds out of the gutters. There's nothing worse. One of the first lessons I taught Brady, by the way, one of the only things that I hope he takes with him is no limp handshakes, no dead fish handshakes. Mm-hmm. That is so disrespectful, and I think it says so much about you as a dude. And maybe this is old school, old man
toxic
talk.
Masculinity, everybody.
But man, and I'm not talking about trying to break. I hate that too.
That's
That's worse. Yeah. Not by much, but it's worse. But the guys that try to break your knuckles, look how much I've been working out. Look at my grip. You want to feel how strong I am? That's worse. Like, get a hold of yourself. But the guys that just put their dainty little hands into yours and like almost like you're kissing the ring, come on, man. Just have a nice, firm, not over the top, firm handshake. Well, that's what I meant by I hate the limp dead fish. And that was a limp dead fish response to that question because it looks to me like, and I feel like I'm pretty tuned into this program, into college football in general, it looks to me, an outsider, like they didn't know if Gus Malzahn would be coming back the Friday after National Signing Day.
Yeah.
That's not a great message to send to your fans when you've told them that you have a plan. Do you have a plan? Because it looked like, to all of us that were in that room and most of the people that heard that, yeah, again, he didn't say no, but it wasn't a absolutely, they're both coming back. He ended it by saying, we're not commenting on that. Well, I don't have any other comments for that or whatever it is. Yeah. Like, why would you say that?
Well, the other
why
thing,
would you say that?
And the other thing, too, on top of that, I know the structural changes potentially, or, that's GM personnel thing. But again, like you shot off 2 emails within a month, basically saying like, we get it. Things aren't going great. We're going to figure it out at the end of the year. We'll let you know. And then before the end of the year strikes, like, we're actually going to run this whole thing back. We're going to work this through and we're going to try to figure it all out. So, it's not crazy. It's not clickbaity. It's not being dramatic. It's not being petulant to want to have clarity on something like that.
Well, because you were asked the question and you had a chance to give clarity and you didn't. So then what happens when you don't answer a question clearly and concisely? It remains unclear. So
funny how works.
That's where we are. It was an unclear answer. That was not an emphatic yes. That was a him and haw in Norvell. I don't want to really comment on it. Yeah, some words there in the middle. I don't really want to comment on it. We're progressing as it, whatever he said. I can't even remember what he said, and it was 7 minutes ago. So yeah, that's why I was under the impression that it was absolutely on the table that there could be a new offensive coordinator here, because neither one of the men that were asked about that man's future seemed emphatic about the answer. Neither one of them really seemed excited about the prospect of coming back. And yet here we are, December 17th, and by God, I'm under the impression now that Gus Malzahn's coming back, which is fine. It just, 12 days ago, the head coach should have answered it, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, what does it matter, right? Like, again, Gus Malzahn's either here or he isn't, and it looks like he's going to be here. I just think the overarching point that you were just making about those emails is when you want to try to convince a fan base that is wounded and not trusting to trust you, that you do have a plan, and this plan is going to be fulfilled, clarity is better than unclear and no comments. It just is. And he had a chance to be clear and concise. He didn't. I believe that's because he didn't know exactly what this staff was going to look like or if Gus was coming back. I could be 100% wrong, and I'll own it. Well, I won't own it because he had a chance to tell me, and he didn't. He had a chance to tell all of us, and he didn't. So I was under the impression there was a chance he might not be here. That's the impression that you leave when you don't come out with a clear and concise answer. So we'll see. Yeah, it's certainly not clickbaity. I don't even know what that means. Clicking on what? The podcast?
Yeah, we're fanning the flames. Where is the comment? I'm not going to read their name out.
Okay.
Jerk, but just, there was something about here. This is nothing but an attempt to get clicks from those individuals that already have concerns with the current administration and staff. Warchant is definitely...
on what? Clicks on what?
I don't know. I guess maybe the podcast. I guess the podcast.
You're already listening to the podcast.
And I don't think that was like a headline. I don't think that was in the
of course not.
description of the. It might have been the description. Like we talked about this at the 50-minute mark, but it wasn't like the headline of the show. Like Gus Malzahn needs to say something immediately, or else.
I guess clickbait. I always assume clickbait is like more news articles than podcasts. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's all bait. We're all just trying to fan the flames and get y'all to click on everything. And man, I wrote a week and a half ago, like I think it was a week and a half ago, like I'm okay if Gus comes back. I would have liked some clarity then. I would like some clarity now. I guess our clarity now is we're not going to tell you anything. We hired his former running backs coach. He's the OC.
Figure it out,
It's like, okay, but you don't fill us with a lot of confidence that this is what you wanted and this was the plan all along when you hemmed and hawed so much, in my opinion, and had a chance to answer the question and didn't. You don't fill your constituency with a lot of confidence when you answer a question like that. It almost feels like you fell back into this, that this wasn't your first choice. Either person, it wasn't their first choice. And that's not a great thing to be. That's not a great message to have coming off 7-17.
You want to listen to? You want to hear Gus's response when we asked him before?
Oh yeah, do you have it? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, let's go.
I know it's still in season, but I'm not sure if we will be able to ask you in the next few weeks. Is your intent to return here next season? Have you talked to Coach Norvell?
Yeah, I mean, my intent is to help us get bowl eligible and win this game, and that's exactly what my focus is.
Yeah, man. Well, quit fanning the flames and acting like they didn't tell us exactly what was going to happen. I personally think that Malzahn wanted to leave and maybe something fell through. I don't know if Norvell wanted him go. I don't know. And again, this is all left to be speculation because of the lack of emphasis with their. He had a chance to say, "Yeah, my intent is to be back here. I like what we're building."
Ira said it too in his. Sorry, Corey. He said in his response too that like there's ways for people within the program to text somebody. To be like, "Hey, man, like." We know you guys are talking about it. He is going to stay. Like, and they don't have to send out a press release.
Right.
They don't have to do like a press. They don't have to do anything crazy. They could just float it out to somebody on the beat and be like, hey man, like, because this is how it works sometimes. Everybody, like, there's some people that are trusted more than others, and they'll get a text message telling you like this is what they're going to do on something. Like they could have done that. They have not done that. So.
You're correct. So anyway, and again, none of this really matters as far as like wins and losses next year. I mean, it does if you care about the coaching staff and who makes it up. But I'm saying like telling us or not telling us, I think the perception of even if we give Norvell the benefit of the doubt and everybody in the program and administration the benefit of the doubt that they do have a plan, a well-conceived plan to fix the front office, to fix this coaching staff, to fix this program, it doesn't get off to a great start, in my opinion, when something as important as the offensive coordinator is left so unclear by the two people that could answer it unequivocally, and they don't. They both equivocated. Neither one of them gave real answers. So you're left to wonder: do they want to be here? Do they want him here? Does he want to be here? And here we are. But look, as soon as they get C.J. Bailey from NC State.
Woo!
And Deuce announces he's coming back.
Yeah.
Pittman announces he's coming back.
Yes.
They get the whole starting offensive line from Ohio State to transfer. Buddy, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who the coordinator is. They're going to get bowl eligible. No, they'll be good. They have a chance to be good. All jokes aside, Florida State, no matter what you think of this program, they do have a chance to be good next year. Don't know what that percentage chance is, but they do have a chance, even with the loss of the man Jabril Rawls.
All right, so it is official. They will be playing a game on August 29th. I don't know if that's actually week 0, though. So I don't know if that's...
I don't think it is, because, again, they played Alabama August 30th.
Yeah,
I just think that's a normal week 1.
But nobody knew about Mexico State. Did they have an opening this whole time? Florida State on their schedule, and they didn't do it until like a month ago. But anyway, so
I think we've known about New Mexico State. At least I have for a few weeks.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that common?
So they got New Mexico State in probably an ACC game, right?
Yep.
And then Alabama.
Yep, and then Central Arkansas, who continues to lose playmakers into the portal every single day. So what should be a layup is becoming easier and easier by the day. Like, they've lost their top receiver. I think their quarterback's entered the portal. So what we do know is, and we knew this before as well, but this is who they'll play. We don't know exactly when, but we know where. Yeah. So they're going to host Clemson, NC State, SMU, and Virginia.
4-0. Go. Keep going.
Then they're going to travel to Boston College, Louisville, Miami, and Pitt.
3-1. So now you're looking at 7-1. Okay.
Which one of those games do you want to be week 2, Corey? So you got New Mexico State's in stone. Alabama week 3 is in stone. What do you want between August 29th and September 19th?
If it's a road game, I would say at BC or at Pitt, just because it would be warmer weather.
Okay.
Would be my thought.
You wouldn't... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think maybe Virginia, host Virginia.
Oh yeah, but then you don't want to have. I guess you're on the road for Alabama, so yeah. I'd like to. You want to knock out that first road win quickly, so it's not the narrative anymore.
Right.
You just go on the road right away. Second week of the season, you start with hopefully a nice win against New Mexico State. You feel good about yourself. You go on the road. You beat Boston College. You get that road monkey off your back, and then you're cooking with gas.
Remember what we talked about, we braced for them losing to Alabama, and then we're like, they're going to lose Alabama, they're going to win the next 2 games, so no one's going to care because, you haven't played a real game until a month later, really, against Virginia. It's going to be this could be a possibly really bad 2025 to start it off. They went and had the best performance of week 1 out of anybody in the nation, and they beat Alabama, and we didn't have to worry about that. But can you imagine if they lose week 2 going in, if they're 1-1 going into Tuscaloosa? But then I guess it's like if you walk out of Tuscaloosa 2-1, who cares? But if you walk out of Tuscaloosa 1-2, gross.
I mean, yeah. Well, let's hope. Let's hope they can find some players and go figure out a way to win games on the road.
Got to be 2-0, man. You got to start 2-0 next. You got to start 2-0. You got to figure it out.
That would be wonderful. They absolutely. I hope they do. Clemson won't be the second game of the season. Miami won't. So any of those other ACC games are possibilities. I would I'd like to be on the road. Maybe it would be 2 straight home games, though, I guess.
Well, also, listen, I goofed this kind of up. Well, so September 5th is a Saturday, then it's September 12th, and then September 19th. So
yeah, September 19th is Alabama.
Right.
So, August 29th is New Mexico State. They'll definitely have one game in between the two. I guess they could have 2 games.
Yeah.
But they could also have a bye.
Yeah.
I would assume they'd have a bye within their first 4 games, if just going on recent history.
Yeah, true.
So one of those will be a bye. One of those will be – so maybe you get a bye before Alabama. You got a road game – or you got Virginia at home, and then you get a bye, and then you got road Alabama.
No.
Hey, it's all doable. It's all doable. And then you'll pull off the home-and-home sweep of the Crimson Tide.
Well, remember we
beat
kept
them at your place and their place.
Yeah. Well, remember we kept complaining about the lack of winning your openers, right? Like, dating back to 17, like Jimbo lost 17,
it was
Taggart
ridiculous.
lost 18 and 19, COVID year 21, but in Notre Dame. But then once you started winning your first game, at least as coaching staff, right? Like 2022, 2023, you win the first game and you had a week 0 in there. But this, again, it's not a week 0. That, gave you some of that momentum because you need something to feel good about. But then, hey, they won their opener this past year against Alabama, and we're 3-0, and somehow did not make it to a bowl game.
But quit bringing up old stuff.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about hoops right here. I'll come back later and enter it into the show. Yes, hoops. Catch the fever. Noles succeeded in not allowing their opponent to score 100 during Tuesday's 29-point loss to Dayton, 97-68. Pause for effect. This sums up the game. Whilst Florida State was on a scoring drought that was about 8 minutes of game time, they were 1 of 10 and over their last 7. The color analyst offered silver lining because Florida State was actually poised to maybe enter the half only down single digits, and he said that would feel like a win. And he was absolutely right. Florida State wasn't shooting well. The defense was disjointed. Team was also getting pretty chippy after the whistle, playing sloppy, but Dayton took the bait. They dragged Dayton down to their level. They too fell into some bad moments, the Flyers, but they left the door ajar and still managed to go up 11 into intermission. Noles were 8 of 27 from 3, 70% from the line. They turned the ball over 20 times. They dropped to 5 and 6 on the season. Next up, a get-right layup home tilt versus Mississippi Valley State. The Delta Devils are 1 and 10 on the year. Oh, and while that was all going on, Randy Pittman decided to have his representation inform On3's Pete Nakos of Pittman's intent to enter the transfer portal. That's right. Not just Jabril Rawls, but also Randy Pittman. So probably 2 of the 10 guys you were projected and planning on building something good around. Pittman was 4th in all major receiving categories behind Deuce, Loane, McCoy, and Danzy. FSU was Pittman's dream school. He went to Mosley, I think, out in Panama City Beach or Panama City. It was his dream school, but FSU didn't recruit him. So he's like, all right, man, I'm going to go to UCF. They didn't recruit him hard enough, I should say. He goes to Orlando, goes to UCF, becomes a solid college tight end, and was pretty much that and more for the Noles this year. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, too. That's 3 more than Usman Kromah. Not sure how much money you spent on those 0 touchdowns. He also threw for 1, too, Pittman. Pittman, though, I think he's all about the business, which is what our guy Malachi Tony say, game ain't based on Gamos, game ain't made on sympathy or something like that. Or Gabos, game ain't based on sympathy. He flirted last spring, everybody. Pittman flirted with leaving Florida State after the spring. So he was here for 3-4 months. He's like, man, I might be out. So those who are in the know aren't too surprised about this, but it still doesn't change the fact that, again, another piece that was projected to be part of the plan to make this thing suck less is going to test the market. I think Texas, by the way, might have been the team that came knocking last year. So there's going to be suitors for a guy like Randy Pittman. This all adds to the mounting evidence that FSU's plan is at best lacking cohesion. We have to almost suspend all belief in reality to see anything but an ambling program right now. Maybe they're saving money, right? They're not going to tank. Maybe they're saving money. They're going to make a run at some really elite players at some important positions. But why? When you could have just paid these productive players. You know what's worse than this? What if it isn't money? What if it's not money? They didn't quit, right? That's what everybody kept telling us, right? All of us that are pissed off and not happy with the way 5 and 7 looked, right? Everybody, they didn't quit, man. They didn't quit. They always fought. They didn't quit. Well, they're kind of quitting now, aren't they? And that's a wrap for Wake Up Warchant today. We're going to do a mailbag show for you guys tomorrow and gals. And I think, Corey, we'll do it nice and long, which is always long and nice when we do the mailbag. And that'll be your entertainment for Thursday and Friday. And then next week is Christmas week. So not sure how many shows we're going to do next week. 3 minimum, maybe. We'll see. Who knows?
Okay.
But I know the Jeff Cameron show is going to be rocking and rolling. What is it? The Day of Giving Thursday? The show that they focus all the proceeds.
Oh, I don't know. I know we're doing the bowling on Thursday, but I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Well, check out the Jeff Cameron show. He's always got something up his sleeve around this time of the year to help out those in need. So get involved in that, and maybe we'll see you folks Thursday at the bowling event that we're also doing for charity. You already get your gifts. I always get like a football and a basketball. I always, those are my two gifts. I always
Steph's handled it. I'm not sure what we've gotten yet, but
okay.
we're coming.
All right,
coming empty-handed.
All right, very well then. Warchant.com, around the clock, Jeff Cameron show 1 to 4 o'clock, but we'll see you with this holiday. Maybe we'll drop some stuff a little bit earlier, but subscribe, rate, review, thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. It's been Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code.